This is a quick tutorial on how to use Google Drawings. This is part of your Google Tools project for English 3043. Part of your weekly discussions is to work on a drawing that I have created. And a lot of the techniques that I'm going to talk about will help you do that, but also help you create your own from scratch. When you create a new drawing, ideally you'll use our class Google Drive and the folder that I have set up for you. You get a canvas that looks like this, sort of a gray and white checkerboard. Your menu options are up here. I'm going to go ahead and increase the size of my window just so you can see things a little bit better here in YouTube. Right now, I've got the Select tool on. To the right of this is my Line tool. I can add a regular line, an arrow, a curve, a scribble. Let's go ahead and look at scribble. This is where I can actually try to write if I really wanted to. Probably not a good idea. But I might want to use an arrow for something. Maybe I'm showing cause effect, or I'm creating a diagram like a flow chart. If I select arrow, I simply drag from where I want to start to where I want to stop. That's a pretty small arrow. Notice that I've had a lot of other options pop up. I can change how my arrowhead starts. Maybe I want it to be double-ended. Maybe I want it to have a cool little diamond. I can also change how my arrowhead looks. So I've decided I like this arrow. But when I try and draw, all that happens is I create more arrows. I no longer want my arrow horizontal. I want it to go up or down a little bit. How do I change this? I need to go back to my Select tool. My Select tool will allow me to redirect where my arrow starts and stops. If I decide I don't like the arrow at all, I make sure I'm on my Select tool. I highlight the arrow and I hit the delete button. What if I realize, no, that was the best arrow ever, I want it back? I can undo the change I just did. I can always redo a change. I'm going to go ahead and undo. I love my arrow. But right now it's not really pointing to anything. A very useful tool is going to be the shape option. So this gives you shapes, whole bunch of different polygons, plus some cool things like moons, hearts, smiley faces, little page icons. You could do some sort of drawing teaching kids about geometric solids if you wanted, or fractions. Nice ideas. There's some fancier arrows, thicker, if that's what you want. You might really be drawn to these call-out buttons that you can write POW in, or these little scrolls, or these sort of thought or speech bubbles. And I can also use Google Drawing to create really cool equations. Maybe I want something a little more dramatic than what a Google document or Word will let me do when I'm teaching mathematics. I'm going to go ahead and use a call out. I like this one. And again, wherever I want to start it, I click, and there it is. I'm in my Select tool, so I can rearrange this, make it really big, really narrow. Ta-da. And at any point, if I hate it, I click on it, I play with it some more, I delete it, I change my mind, I undo. What if I wanted to add text to this? What if I really wanted to say POW? Well, I go to the next option in my menu, Text Box. I click on this, and notice that my cursor has changed to a little plus sign. I'm going to draw my box, and now I have the typical font and size and even color options if I click on more. I'm going to go with this bright blue. I want it to be big and bold. POW. I'm going to go back to my select tool so I can move this around a little bit. Ta-da! Now, this isn't the most interesting or greatest thing in the world, but could you use this to create sort of your own brand? Could you have students use this to make cartoons or graphic organizers? That's actually something you're going to do in the discussions. Everybody's going to be working on one of two Google Drawings to just sort of play around with this. For your project, you want to create a professional drawing. For those of you who are going to be classroom teachers, this is an activity you'd have students do, or maybe you're designing your own worksheet or bulletin board decoration, just something that you could actually use in the classroom. For those of you who are looking at, well, I want to be a writer, I'm going into marketing, I'm going to do business. Maybe you want to design a personal seal, something for your letterhead. Maybe you want to design the logo for the business you're going to start up. Maybe you want to show a flow chart of ideas you have for the company you currently work for. Here's how they could improve productivity. The bottom line is your Google Drawing has to relate to your future career. It has to be something you could actually use or actually show a boss. Another thing you can do with a Google Drawing is import an image and then work with it. You go to the Insert menu, here between View and Format, and select Image. You can drag and drop your image. You can upload from your desktop, just like you would attaching a file to an email. So I've uploaded a simple map of the United States. I found it in a Google image search, and I looked for images that were labeled for reuse with modification because I plan on changing this. I could paste this into a PowerPoint slide. I could paste it into Microsoft Word. But to then add arrows or other icons gets a lot trickier. Maybe this is an area where a Google Drawing will be easier for you to use. I could create this Google Drawing in a class account and then ask students to come in, add text boxes, and type the state names. I could annotate this with major landmarks. Yes, I know, my geography is a little bit off. But see how easy that was? Keep this in mind as you're doing your Google Drawing for English 3043. Do you want to build something entirely from scratch, or do you want to work on or annotate or modify an image that you find that is labeled for such reuse? Be creative and have some fun.